you got through the weekend. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hey, it's Box Office Blitz Monday here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Box Office Blitz Monday. So today, I will just give you stuff for listening to this radio show. Today, what are we giving away, Dragon Ball?
Today, we're giving away a couple of gift cards to your favorite Valentine's Day spot, Hooters, once again.
Okay.
Yep, $25 gift cards.
How many
to Hooters.
giving away? Two
we're
or three?
We're giving away 3 of those.
Okay,
because
so you said a couple.
Hour. Yes, I said a couple.
A couple. So today, we're going to give away a gift card to Hooters every hour on the program.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's another reason for you to listen today.
Another reason to tune into the show.
Tune into the show today. All right, so we have all of that on the agenda today. Plus, if you're watching us online, we've got brand new graphics, professional-looking graphics for the program today. You will be amazed at what you see on our radio show. We have our brand new graphics package that they've been working hard on back behind the scenes, and Josh put it together and Bobby put it together. Man, this looks like network quality graphics for our stream. So if you check out our stream today on Facebook Live, where we're streaming right now, YouTube, Twitch, and of course WildcatsRadio1290.com. This is rather impressive. This is network quality graphics that we have today. This isn't stuff I just made on my phone.
No, this is more so a professional went into Photoshop and did this rather than somebody that we know went into Paint and made whatever it is that we did.
I used color crayons.
Okay, well there you go.
I used color crayons on this today.
I meant Microsoft Paint as in the program.
Oh no, I went and I used color crayons to make all of this.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we have all of that coming up for you today. Of course, the show is coming to you live from the studios of Wildcats Radio 1290. They're brought to you by Casino del Sol, Sol Sports, Bet Easy, Win Big, Bet Local, Casino del Sol. All right, there's a lot of things that we need to get to and not much time because we only have 3 hours in the show today. So this huge weekend of sports, biggest upset winner in probably the last, 100 years maybe or so. The Kentucky Derby, I paid no attention to it. Didn't watch it, didn't care, wish I would have, because Strike Rich was an 81-1 long shot to win. Of course you should have bet on Strike Rich. Look at the horse's name. It's Rich in there. Shame on you for not betting on Strike Rich. You should have jumped all over that to make some money this weekend. But we'll talk about that a little bit on the program. Dallas and Philadelphia win. Dubs and Bucks go tonight. We're going to talk a lot about the NBA Finals today because the world, let's just be honest, is going crazy right now, and we need to get some people to come correct. So I'm going to talk about that quite a bit on the program today. Arizona takes on the USC Trojans in L.A. Not good news for the Cats. They lose 2 of 3 to the last-place Trojans. Michael Lev will join us from the Arizona Daily Star. We'll get his take and his thoughts on what happened this weekend in Los Angeles and how Arizona really needs to respond back in their games that now become almost must-wins, if not must-wins, against USC coming up this weekend. So all of that is open on the table for discussion today. But most importantly, we're giving away gift cards to Hooters simply for listening to the program and calling in when Dragon Ball tells you to call in. So all of that coming up. Plus, I got to thank everybody who's been working. We're going through massive remodels of the radio station right now. Everything they're doing is a huge upgrade to these facilities that have been here for 20 years. The radio station's 20 years old, and now we're getting some serious upgrades so we can bring you even better coverage of the Arizona Wildcats. So I'm really thrilled with some of the stuff that we'll be putting together this summer to get ready for the football season next year. So all of that's up on the table for discussion today. But I am beaming so proud today. I got a couple of reasons why I'm beaming so proud today. I am the proudest father in the whole wide world. I'm just going to start off with that. I'm the proudest father in the whole wide world, everybody. I've kind of shared a little bit. I talk about my kid all the time, and I do because my most important job I have in this world, the most important thing for me to do in this world is to be a dad. That's first and foremost my number one job. That's what I live for. That's what I get up for every day. That's the only thing that really matters that I do on a daily basis is being a dad. So if I brag about my kid, that's because it's the most important thing in my life. Now, I will tell you this. I'm the proudest dad of all time because today, my son, who is a midshipman at the United States Merchant Marine Academy, is being recognized and getting a new rank. So if I'm beaming today, or if he starts calling during the show and I blow everybody off to hear what he has to say, that's why. So today is recognition day at the Academy. So I've kind of shared this a little bit with everybody, Dragon Ball, but I can really share it now. So, as you know, I've got a 21-year-old son. Love him. The biggest job I have in my life is being his dad. The most important job I have in my life is being his dad. Everything else doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things or the short scheme. Being the best father I can is really the only reason I get up in the morning. That's why God put me on this earth, to be the best dad that I can. That's the most important thing in the world to me. I think I've kind of shared what he's doing, and I've talked about him quite a bit, but my son is a midshipman in one of our 5 federal service academies. So in case you don't know, there's 5 of them, and the one that he goes to is probably the least known. There's West Point, the United States Military Academy. There's Annapolis, the United States Naval Academy. There's Air Force, the Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs. There's the United States Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut. And then there's the United States Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, New York. He received nominations to Navy and to Kings Point, decided to go to Kings Point while he was still on the wait list for Navy because he gets a chance to play baseball. Now, a lot of times, especially when we have the coaches in on Wednesday, on Wildcat Wednesday, I ask them for help. Like, give me some things I could talk to him about. Give me some things that can help motivate. Give me some things that I can help him when he gets knocked on his rear end and has to get back up and keep fighting and not give up. So a lot of times on the program, we'll get great things from coaches that they use, that you can use, and that I can use to keep going when things get rough, because that's what happens. Everybody has a plan until Mike Tyson punches you in the face, and then you're done. So for him, he's gotten punched in the face quite a few times. Kicked to the curb, knocked down, ran over, had the bus back up and run him back over again. So today is a really special day for him. So just so you know, while I'm bragging about all this, he didn't get into the academy right out of high school. So instead, he served, he went Navy ROTC for a year at the University of New Mexico, reapplied, got in for the class of 2024. Everything was great. Struggled a little bit academically, but it's a huge STEM school. He went from being a poli-sci major to being a marine transportation, logistics, and security major. They only have 2 majors. You're either an engine major or a deck major because they train ship's officers. Second trimester, when COVID hits, he struggles and gets his ass kicked. He gets it handed to him, flunks a bunch of classes. He's taken physics and calculus on Zoom and YouTube, and they're not meeting in person. They don't have study groups. He just crashed and burned. And they said, hey, listen, you're not going to make it here. And he got recommended for dismissal. So they said, here's the deal. You can either quit, no harm, no foul. It doesn't go on your permanent record. You can go back to college, and if you want to go back to ROTC, I'm sure they'll take you. And he goes, I'm not a quitter. They go, you know what? Your chances of winning your appeal aren't very good. I would probably just tap out right now. And he was going to. And then he goes, I'm not a quitter, because once you start quitting, that's a really hard habit to break. So he goes, I'm going to try. I'm not going to give up. So he went back. He had to go before the superintendent and the commandant and the entire board and say, listen, here's why you shouldn't kick me out and give me another chance. He had to stand there and argue his case to all the leadership at the school. They said, all right, give us a minute. Came back and they go, you know what? There's easier ways for you to get a commission to serve as a naval officer. This really isn't your place. He goes, sir, I'm not a quitter. If you give me a chance, I'm going to make it work here. So I said, okay, against our better judgment, we'll let you come back. What you have to do is you have to go home back to Arizona. You got to take a bunch of classes at junior college and prove that you could pass these STEM classes, and then we'll let you come back. So he came back and he lived with us for about 9 months, and he was miserable and had to think about, what am I doing? Had to motivate, had to rethink his entire life, had to think, is this really what I want to do? It's all these things that you get when you're a young man that things come crashing down on you. Took his classes at Pima, hung out at the house, really had to question, can I do this? Should I do this? What is my future? He had to have a big soul-searching session. Went back to school, got through his classes in the trimester, last trimester, and passed those classes that he failed. Taking his classes right now. And what they do at the academies is you go in as a plebe, or in Air Force they call them a dually, but you basically have no rights and everybody yells and screams at you every day of the week. You're up at 5:30. You're not allowed to close your door. No naps. You're in uniform all the time. Basically, your life is a living hell at the academy, and all the upperclassmen just mess with you. When they're walking down the hallway, they've got to walk right along the wall. Every time they turn a corner, they've got to turn it in a military fashion. It's not a lot of fun. So for him, he's been a plebe at the academy for 2 years. He's been a plebe longer than anybody else in the academy. So today, send me a text, Dad, today's it. So as you go in as a plebe candidate, then you become a plebe, and then you fight and work till our day, recognition day. So today, he gets his rank back. As of this afternoon, I am proud to say I am the father of a 4th-class midshipman at the United States Merchant Marine Academy. Really proud of him. Wanted to share that story with everybody because every once in a while I'll allude a couple things about him, but I wanted to throw that out today. So if I'm a little extra giddy, a little extra excited, a little extra proud, a little extra fired up today, that's why, because as we speak right now, he's getting pinned on with his anchors, and he goes back to being a 4th-class midshipman. Actually, when he left ROTC, he was a 3rd-class midshipman, which is a sophomore rank. He had to give that up to go back to being a plebe again, so he's been a plebe without a rank for 2 years. Now he finally gets his 4th-class stripes back. End of the trimester in June, he gets his third-class stripes back. It'll be a 3rd-class midshipman before he goes out to sea for 4 months. So I'm pretty excited today. Yes, that's right. Big reason to celebrate. In fact, to celebrate right now, let's do the box office blitz. Let me give some stuff away. I'll give you a gift card to Hooters to celebrate my son getting promoted to a 4th-class midshipman. So why don't you let's go ahead and ring it up, the box office blitz.
The Wildcats Radio 1290 box office is now open.
We feel that right away. It's just refreshing.
With tickets to ball games, concerts, movies,
Surely you can't be serious.
and more.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Start calling at 520-848-1290 to win. Good luck from Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, in honor of him being class of 2025, I don't want to make you answer 25. How about, this is caller number 10. How's that?
Caller number 10? Okay.
Caller number 10 right now. Caller number 10 right now at 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Caller number 10 right now. You're going to win a $25 gift card?
$25 gift card.
$25 gift card to Hooters, courtesy of Hooters, me, and everybody here at 1290. So why don't you call right now, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. The number for you to join is caller number 10. You want a $25 gift card, courtesy of Hooters, as we kick off this week here on 1290. Program brought to you in part by Trajan Wealth, 321-4100, 321-4100, or you go to TrajanWealth.com, TRAJAN Wealth.com. All right. When big news happens in your life, everybody gets excited. Yes, we just won the lottery. Yes, I just cashed out on a big investment. Yes, I just made a bunch of money. Yes, I just got a huge bonus. That's great because there's lots of ways in our lives on a daily basis. Exciting things can happen. Great things can happen. Lots of good things can come your way. But how do you protect yourself when things start getting a little rocky in the financial picture? When the Fed starts raising interest rates or the Dow Jones plunges and people are selling off? How do you manage all of that? Who do you have that has your back when it comes to your investments? That's why I suggest you call my friends at Trajan Wealth, 321-4100, 321-4100. Trajan Wealth, they're partners. You sit down and you say, listen, here's my investments. Here's my money. Here's my goal. and you sit down and you come up with a goal that you could both work towards together. They're going to sit down with you and go, okay, here's what we think. You tell them, here's what I want to do. And that's it. They've got your back. They're fiduciaries. You agree to a small upfront fee, and the bigger your portfolio grows, the bigger that fee grows for them. They only get paid when they get paid. Make sure I get this right. They get paid more when you make more. They are incentivized to grow your money. That's what they do at Trade Your Wealth. That's why they're your partners. If you don't have that partnership, I suggest you call them and have them take a look at what you're doing with your money. 321-4100, 321-4100, or go to tradeyourwealth.com, TRAJAN wealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trade Your Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All right, coming up, we're talking a little bit about the Cats. Then I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to get off my chest because the world's going crazy, and we got to stop it. We're going to do all of that. Caller number 10 right now, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Caller number 10 wins a $25 gift card to Hooters. All that coming up here on 1290. And now streaming on Wildcats Radio 1290.com. You can also see us on Facebook Live at Wildcats 1290 and on YouTube at Wildcats 1290 with our brand new graphics package, which is pretty sharp. It makes us look awfully professional. Makes us look network quality.
As professional as we can look with me in the kind of the Tommy Bahama shirt that I got going on over here.
Is that Tommy Bahama?
I mean, I'm not sure, but it definitely has the look and feel to it now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I would call it a Polynesian motif.
I could see that. I could see that a little bit.
Tough weekend for the Cats on the road in Los Angeles. The Cats right now are tied for third place in the Pacific 12 Conference. They've fallen out of the top 25. They lose 2 of 3. They lost Friday night. They win Saturday. They lose Sunday to the last place USC Trojans. USC is struggling right now at the bottom of the Pac-12, but they do hang on to win 2 of 3 for the Arizona Wildcats over the weekend. Arizona now tied with UCLA for third behind Stanford and Oregon State. Next up is a big, ginormous, huge series with the Oregon State Beavers. I hate the fact that Oregon State's number 1 because then it reminds me of Jacoby Ellsbury. He was an Oregon State Beaver. How in the world are they number 1 in the Pac-12? It's Oregon State. It should if it's not Arizona, then maybe UCLA or USC. But Oregon State, how are they having such a great baseball program? It rains there all the time. They have awful weather up in Oregon, but they're the team to beat now in the Pac-12. So if you're the Arizona Wildcats, you've got a huge series. So I'm just bringing this up right now because this series now becomes even more important, even bigger. And Chip Hale, quite honestly, is going to need all the help he can get this weekend with Oregon State coming into town. And I'm going to go out on a limb. I think they would need to win 2 of 3 at the minimum. Winning 1 of 3 isn't going to get good enough. You get swept, forget it. You need to win 2 of 3, if not all 3, to propel you back into a spot where we're going to talk with Michael Lev, by the way, right? Michael Lev's going to join us in about 5 minutes from now. We'll talk with Michael Lev about that. But if you're Arizona, you've got to win these series against Oregon State and then on the road at Oregon next week. Becomes huge for the Arizona Wildcats as they head to the first Pac-12 postseason tournament for baseball. You need to put yourself in a position that I don't think they're at risk of not making the tournament right now, but they're at risk of not hosting a regional if it were to start today. And you want to make sure now we're talking about seeding, because if you have to go on the road to make it to a regional, to a super regional, getting to Omaha gets awfully tough. So if the Arizona Wildcats are looking for an opportunity to go to Omaha, oh boy, they didn't do themselves any favors this weekend against the Trojans, and they're really going to have to hustle in order to get it done against the Oregon State Beavers this weekend here in High Corbin. So hopefully it'll be 125 degrees and Oregon State melts because it's not that hot up in Corvallis right now trying a ball.
It's not, and it usually doesn't get that hot. I mean, it barely breaks 117 down here in Tucson. So
no, I want it to be 125 degrees. I got this big hat. We were up in Scottsdale this weekend. I got this big sombrero. I almost wore it in today. It's literally the size of a UFO.
Oh,
it could be
one
the
of those.
biggest. It's not a sombrero per se. It's a huge cowboy hat that's probably, and I've got a huge melon. It's probably 5 times the size of my melon.
Now, does it, with the brim that you're talking about where it's as big as a UFO, does it actually, like, cover your shoulders in the shot? Oh, wow. That's a big hat. That's a big hat.
In fact, Friday, we're going to go out and do the show from High Corbett Field.
Right.
I might have to wear that hat out there Friday.
You probably would have to, honestly, with the way High Corbett.
We have a tent. We're okay. I'm just going to wear it for fun.
But when
I'm going to be like a Kentucky Derby person. Ooh, look at my hat.
But think about when the show takes place, Rich. It's at 3 to 6 is our show on Friday.
I've got a big tent. I'm not sitting out in the middle of the sun.
But the sun's going to be coming down, so at some point.
I've got shade.
No, but
I'm not
Rich,
soft.
Rich, hear me out. You're going to need that brim to keep the sun out of your eyes once it gets to, like, eye level. and it's getting to that point where it's starting to set. Like, that's the
point.
No,
it's just a goofy hat I like wearing. There's no real excuse for it because the hat is so ridiculously big. It looks like I could go to the Kentucky Derby and hang with all those women with their big, broad-brimmed hats.
No, in order to do that, though, you would need to go ahead and put a train set or something on it.
How do you know I don't have a train? How do you know I don't have a train set on top of
those
mine?
hats get a little absurd. Like, it's up to the level of
okay, that's why this hat is absurd.
Okay.
I might wear it out there this weekend. All right, coming up, we'll hear from Michael Lev. How bad was the loss to the USC Trojans? He'll put it in perspective for us next here at 1290.
This is David Ahmad, and here's what's trending on 1290 here at 3:32. Again, Arizona baseball dropped their series finale at the Trojans out in California on Sunday night as the Wildcats lose the series 2-1, now with the Cats sitting at third place in the Pac-12. Arizona softball team managed to go ahead and come away with a win in Game 3, but they also lose the series against the Cal Bears. And now the Phoenix Suns have played themselves to the top seed in the NBA, and for that effort, head coach Monty Williams is expected to be named the coach of the year in the NBA, according to the Associated Press. And sad news in the world of basketball as former Michigan State standout Adrian Payne has reportedly passed away after he was a victim of a shooting. Payne was 31 years old. That's what's trending locally and nationally here on 1290. Still more to come on The Rich Herrera Show. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Rich Herrera Radio Show rolls on. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. Tough weekend for the Arizona Wildcats. So what happens next? They welcome in the top team in the Pacific 12 Conference for baseball at Hyde Corbett Field beginning on Friday to kind of tell us where the Cats are right now, tied for third place, and what the future is laying out for them is Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star. The beat writer covers Arizona baseball and football, and he had a great football article today. He's joining us here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Mr. Lev, how are you?
I am fine, Rich. How are you?
I'm having a great day. Today's a very, very good Monday, so I'm glad you're joining us. So what's the aftermath of the USC weekend?
Well, a disappointing weekend, to be sure. They lost 2 out of 3 to the team that was in last place in the conference. It's the second time that's happened to Arizona. They lost 2 out of 3 to Washington State earlier this season when Washington State was in last place. I mean, I think that Washington State team is probably better than its records suggested at that time. But still, I mean, that's the series that tanked their RPI, and it hasn't really recovered, since then. And, I mean, the difference, of course, with that series was it was at home, and so that made it even worse. It was really kind of minimal damage in terms of RPI with this USC series. That being said, they didn't play that great. I mean, they barely won the game that they won. Other than Garrett Irving, the starting pitching wasn't very good. Offense has been really inconsistent, so I can't, sit here and say that they have a lot of momentum, heading into the home stretch of the season.
Michael Lev joining us right now from the Arizona Daily Star as we talk about Arizona. They lost 2 of 3 to the USC Trojans. They have the number 1 team in the Pac-12, Oregon State, coming in this weekend. So, Michael, help me with my expectations. I know it's a new head coach with Chip coming in, and I know that there's new players and change is constant in college baseball. But my expectations were this was a team that was going to challenge for a regional, if not a super regional, and had a shot at going to Omaha. Probably a little too high expectations now that I'm looking at it. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty end of the season. What should be the reasonable expectations? Is this a team that we can expect to go to a regional, but maybe not host? Do they still have an outside shot at hosting a regional? I think super regional, probably out of the question at this point.
Well, they're still in good shape to make the NCAA tournament. It would take a pretty significant collapse for them to miss out on that, but they have tough opponents coming up, too. Oregon State, I mean, you said they're the top team in the Pac-12. According to Baseball America, they're the top team in the country. They had been ranked number 2. Baseball America moved them up to number 1 this week. So you basically have the best team in the land coming to Tucson this weekend. And then they finish up at Oregon, which has been ranked for most of the season as well, kind of in that maybe 15 to 25 range. So, if they went 0-6, which I don't think is going to happen, but if they did, I mean, maybe they become a bubble team at that point, but they are in pretty good shape. I don't think they have any chance at this point of becoming a host unless they were to go on a crazy run maybe winning 5 out of their last 6 and winning the Pac-12 tournament, something of that nature. And, who knows what can happen in a regional, but like I said, I don't feel a lot of momentum right now. With Jay Johnson teams, even when they were kind of, on the bubble, they always went on a run at some point in time, like a significant run. And this team hasn't done that yet. I think about the 2019 team that missed out on the NCAA tournament. That team finished 32-24. If you recall, they had lots of defensive and pitching problems. But at the end of the season, nobody was playing better. That was a team that could have really benefited from a Pac-12 tournament. I think they won their last 10 games in a row. They scored 10-plus runs in 8 of those 10 games. This team hasn't gotten on that kind of roll as of yet. There's still a little bit of time to do that, but seeing is believing. We kind of have to see it from them before kind of willing to commit to them doing any damage in the postseason.
Which brings me to my next point that I wanted to bring up with you. How much are their backs against the wall? How desperately do they need to win this series? I'm not talking about sweeping Oregon State, like you said, now number 1 team in the nation, but at least taking 2 or 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not very urgent, 10 is you better win it because your back's against the wall, or else. Where would you put the sense of urgency for them to win this series?
Maybe a 7 or so. I just think from a confidence standpoint that it would really do them some good if they could win this series. And they have, there's been a little bit of that, playing up and playing down to the competition thing with this particular team. I mean, remember, it's a long time ago, but back in March, they swept Stanford. Stanford at the time was ranked in the top 15. They kind of went down. Now they're kind of a consensus top 10 team. That showed what this team was capable of doing. And since then, they've been kind of up and down, frankly. They lost a series, as I mentioned, at home against Washington State, which was in last place at the time. Lost 2 out of 3 at Utah, which is, they're okay. Not great, but kind of toward the bottom end. They did beat ASU at home. ASU is frankly not very good this year, and it took a wild comeback in the first game to pull that off. And then you lose at USC, and USC hadn't won a Pac-12 series since its first series of the season against UCLA.
Wow.
A long time ago. So, do they need to win 2 out of 3 against Oregon State? No, but if they did, they might prove something to themselves that could be valuable heading down the rest of May and into the postseason.
And then how does these 2 series, Oregon State at home to finish off the regular season at High Corbett, then Oregon on the road, how does that set them up, and where do you see them falling in the pecking order for the Pac-12 tournament? Because, again, you don't want to be sitting there in the meaty part of the middle, because that's a dangerous spot to be for a tournament.
Well, I mean, it's a log jam right now in the middle. Everyone is kind of playing for second place behind Oregon State, which is 18-6. Arizona's tied for third with UCLA at 14-10. Stanford is now in second place at 15-9. ASU is actually 12-12. So they've improved quite a bit and put themselves in pretty good position here to at least guarantee getting into the Pac-12 tournament. I think if I'm looking at this correctly, that would be an opening matchup, Arizona against ASU, and would undoubtedly be the highest drawing matchup for the tournament up there in Scottsdale. I do not think the tournament organizers would like that to happen, Rich, because the 2 local teams, the 2 most popular teams in the area, you don't want them facing each other right off the bat in the first round, right? You want to kind of spread the wealth, get more fans coming to more games. But I think that's going to change quite a bit here over these last 2 weekends. I think the only real certainty is that Oregon State's going to win the league and be the top seed. The really fascinating part about this new Pac-12 tournament is, like, how are these coaches going to play this? You know, like, I mean, if you're Oregon State even, do you play to win? Or do you just kind of manage your pitchers and make sure that no one throws too much? Because you're pretty much guaranteed of a host position in a regional at this point, no matter what happens in that tournament. You know, whereas maybe if you're Oregon and you're not totally sure, maybe even Arizona, if they were to get swept, let's say,
right,
by Oregon State, and they're kind of stumbling into the tournament, maybe it means a lot more to them to go on a run and try to win it. You know, ASU, that's probably the only way they're going to get into the NCAA tournament is by winning the Pac-12 tournament. So that, to me, is what's really the most interesting thing about something that's new for a lot of us, you know, in this part of the country.
Wow. I mean, that it shapes up to be something big this week in Oregon State. You got to play well. If not, you're going to be that bubble team like Arizona State chasing it at the last minute. And who knows what that does for a team that's been so inconsistent pitching-wise. It's going to be a fun weekend in High Corbett for the final home games of the season. Hey, can we switch to football, something that I saw in the paper today I wanted to ask you about?
Yeah.
Jaden DeLora in the Pro Football Focus, or the Football Focus numbers that were in the paper today, I thought were fascinating. How efficient Jaden DeLora is, and what it looks like we might be able to see a little bit of a difference in the way that the offense is run just from, I don't know, maybe just a quarterback presence standing.
So, yeah, I did this kind of deep dive into the Pro Football Focus numbers for him, mainly him and Jacob Cowling. There was the most data available for those two. I looked at how they fared last year, and it was the most interesting thing to me is that, like, what you saw in practice was reflected in those numbers. Like, you saw a quarterback who liked to and was capable of making, you know, big plays down the field. And a lot of the numbers reflected that. PFF has this stat called big-time throws. Big-time throw is a pass with excellent ball location and timing, generally thrown further down the field and or into a tight window. Jaden DeLora had the most big-time throws in the Pac-12 last year with 25, right? He also had one of the highest ADOT. ADOT is average depth of target. His average depth of target was 10 yards. To put that in some perspective, the three quarterbacks who played the most snaps for Arizona last year, Will Plummer, Jordan McLeod, and Gunnar Cruz, their ADOTs were 9.1, 6.2 for Jordan, and 5.2 for Gunnar. DeLora was 26 of 63 on passes thrown 20 or more yards. Arizona's quarterbacks were 10 of 45.
Wow.
On passes thrown 20 or more yards. So this is a player who is capable of making plays downfield. And I think that Jedd Fisch unquestionably wants more of that in his offense instead of it's kind of like, 3 yards in a cloud of rubber pellets kicking up from the turf, Now, on the other hand, we saw Jaden DeLora throw, maybe a few more interceptions than he would have wanted in spring practice. He also had the most of what PFF calls turnover-worthy plays of any passer in the Pac-12 in 2021 with 16. So, bit of a gunslinger type of mentality. We'll see if that continues. Usually kind of as you get older as a quarterback, you learn a little bit more. You play a little bit smarter. This is a totally different system as well, so I'm sure that will have an impact on the numbers. But I just thought that those numbers showed what he was capable of.
And it's interesting because there are so many times, and we talked about on the postgame show, Michael, that we saw so many boundary plays to Stanley Berryhill. They didn't get a lot of depth. I watched a lot of Washington State football last year. A friend of ours is on the team. And Jaden DeLora is more of a gunslinger, but that also goes to that offense that Washington State runs. It's a little bit more fun and gun, throwing the ball down the field, some Mike Leach leftover plays that they have up there.
Yeah, and so Stanley Berryhill's successor here is Jacob Cowling, right? And that's the other guy that I looked at quite extensively with the PFF data. And Jacob Cowling, everyone thinks he's just going to play Stanley's role, right? Well, he didn't play exactly the same role at UTEP, even though most of his snaps in passing situations were out of the slot, 289 versus 92. His ADOT, which, like I said before, that means average depth of target, with UTEP was 15.2 yards. Stanley Berryhill here last year was 6.8.
Wow.
So, I mean, right, that's almost a 10-yard difference. So he's obviously utilized in a different way. Maybe he has a different skill set, too. I mean, it would be foolish for Jedd Fisch to not try to take advantage of his ability to make plays downfield. And when you kind of put all of this together, you've got a quarterback that likes to and can make plays down the field. You have a new receiving weapon that also has adept at making plays downfield. It should make for an effective combination.
The one thing that my biggest takeaway from that was the pressure that was put on and how many times they were rushed or felt pressure. I thought that was an interesting statistic that you pulled out today as well, because Jayden de Laura had a little bit more time to deliver the football, where Gunnar Cruz and Will Plumber and McLeod were all running for their life most of the time because the pass blocking was so porous.
Yeah, PFF does. They track pressure, however they define it. And Jayden de Laura had a pressure rate of 21.9% last year. So basically 1 out of 5 dropbacks, right? Arizona's 3 quarterbacks, it was 34.5%.
Wow.
So significantly higher. Now, he's coming to play for Arizona. It's mostly the same offensive line. Is he going to also be under pressure, 30+% of the time? I don't know. You'd like to think that the offensive line will be improved this year, and that won't be the case. There's also a stat that shows that he kind of did a better job at avoiding sacks. PFF, they chart like the percentage of pressures that turn into sacks. They also, by the way, Rich, they break down like whose fault it was. I didn't get into that, but that's also fascinating. Like, was it the quarterback's fault, the offensive line, et cetera? But anyway, so percentage of pressures turned into sacks. de Laura was 16.3%. Jordan McLeod was 12.9%, so he was even better at avoiding sacks. Will Plummer was 18.9%, and Gunnar Cruz 20.9%. So he was, that's some of the flaws in Gunnar Cruz's game that we saw last year. They were revealed in these statistics. Like taking a lot of sacks, not willing to throw the ball downfield. The numbers back up the anecdotal evidence.
And what a fan I am of your work, and you help us with everything we need to kind of figure out and break down for the pre- and post-game shows. And I've told you this on and off the air how much I enjoy your work. But I really enjoyed this piece because in baseball, sabermetric numbers just get to be ridiculous, where they make my head spin, even though I could do regressive analytics. Sometimes I think the numbers we throw out there are just silly. Your numbers that you pulled and the way that you presented it fell in line with kind of what I saw with the eyeball test. I saw Jordan McLeod was pretty good at extending plays. I watched Jayden de Laura all year. He was really good at extending plays. I saw Will struggling, and I saw Gunnar standing in there until the pocket collapsed on top of him, and he wasn't able to extend the play out as much as he would have liked. Those bear fruit with the numbers that you just shared with us, in the research you did for Pro Football Focus. It makes things make a lot more sense. So could Jed find somebody who can extend a play and get the ball downfield, and maybe you'll see more offense?
Yeah, I mean, Jayden, well, thank you, first of all. And second of all, Jayden has that ability, to kind of make the off-platform type throw, or the throw that's kind of a secondary element of the play. I think something for him to work on is getting the ball out quick.
Right.
Because as those numbers show, like, he is likely going to face more pressure in this system or with this offensive line than he did at Washington State. So that'll be kind of a learning process for him. Hopefully, this wasn't a case of confirmation bias, on my part with a lot of these numbers. I mean, I didn't go in with any sort of preconceived notions. as far as like what data my idea was just, hey, let's look through the data, see what we can find, what does it tell us about these players. And it just so happened that, like you said, a lot of the data supported what we all kind of saw and thought about these players.
And now that I look at the data that you share with me, I'm going to have to rethink, why do we see so many boundary plays, especially with Gunnar and with Will? Was that because they didn't extend plays out, they're under pressure, and I got to get rid of the football too quick, maybe more quick than I'd like to? So I'm going to throw as many boundary plays as I can because I can't let them sit back there in the pocket. They're not able to extend, and the pass rush is coming with them a third of the time. So this is pretty much get rid of the football as quick as I can. Maybe some play action passes, but maybe that's why we saw the offense we saw last year.
Definitely part of it. No question about it. I mean, look, the advantage that Jayden de Laura has over any of the quarterbacks that they had last season is that he has a combination of playing time previously in college and all of spring football. Will Plummer and Gunnar Cruz, they had spring football last year. They did not have previous playing experience, at least not to the extent that Jayden de Laura had. Jordan McLeod had prior playing experience, but he couldn't get here for spring practice. So hopefully, that combination will lead to a shorter learning curve for Jayden de Laura, and he'll kind of fit right into this new and different offense.
Wow. I hope you have more of those as we get closer and closer to training camp, because like I said, I wasn't expecting that enterprise piece from you today, but it was outstanding. I reread it 3 and 4 times, and it really made me think about, as I break down what I was watching, and I'd sit like you do, you always sit down and watch the game afterwards, and you got the clicker and you're making little notes. Now that you mention all of these things on the rushes and how far they were throwing down the field, maybe it made sense to throw boundary plays, because I'm not going to be able to sit back in the pocket 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and try to get the ball down the field.
Yeah, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm going to try really quickly to call them up here because I know that we're running out of time. But Will Plummer's last game with Arizona last season against ASU, he was kind of a different guy in that game. Like, he had a much higher ADOT, and he just was like more willing to throw the ball downfield for whatever reason. And I think in a different world, if they hadn't brought in another quarterback, if Will hadn't been injured, he probably would have been right in the mix here to be that guy this season. But the way he played in that game is the way that Jedd Fisch would like his quarterbacks to play. He wants to, see more balls thrown down the field. I think there were a lot of situations where guys were running open and the quarterbacks weren't hitting them.
Right.
And I think Jayden de Laura just might be the guy to make those plays.
It will be fun once we get ready. All right, Michael Lev, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, folks, check out this piece he has today at Tucson.com. Really fascinating when he breaks down the quarterback play and uses some analytics and some numbers to get to some of the things that we talk about every day on a daily basis. Excellent job today in today's Tucson.com and Arizona Daily Star. Michael Lev, thank you so much. I'll see you this weekend.
Thanks, Rich.
All right, take care. Michael Lev joining us here on Wildcats Radio 1290. All right, we got a lot more. We got so much. Today's a great day. I told you. Somebody just sent me photos of my boy going through, just getting smoked at in recognition, doing up downs and jumps and somersaults and rolls, and basically they're just putting him through hell right now in order to get his anchor. I love it. We'll talk more about it coming up. Rich Herrera Radio Show rolls on a Monday. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Our thanks to Michael Lev for joining us. Great article in today's Arizona Daily Star when it talks about Arizona football. It's really good. It's worth checking out. It's worth buying the paper today or going online to Tucson.com to check it out. But I'm going to change subjects here. You know what, sports fans? You and I need to have a talk. We need to sit down as sports fans, and we really need to take a deep dive, look in the mirror, and ask what in the hell is going on these days.
What the hell?
No, don't. Yeah, no. Let's. Yeah, no. I'm serious on this one. This isn't fun anymore. I watched this weekend just to a bunch of, quite honestly, crap. This isn't fun anymore. If you can't go to a game and root for whoever I want, something's wrong. If I can't go to a game and not worry about whether I'm going to get into a fist fight with somebody, something is wrong. If you can't go watch your favorite team play on the road, something is wrong. This has got to a point today. I am so deeply disturbed. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm disgusted by all of it. And I haven't got on my soapbox for a long time, but I am today. I'm going to get your comments on this. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Couple things I saw this weekend are beyond pale. And somebody needs to step up and say something about it, and there needs to be some adults in the room when it comes to these things that I saw this weekend. First and foremost, the people of Dallas, you all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. If you're a Dallas Maverick fan, you deserve scoring today. You deserve people looking down their nose at you. And you deserve every bit of disdain I have in my voice for you today. Why? Because a couple of your fans got out of line. Now, am I being way over the top? Yeah, I am. But it's time somebody stands up and says something. It's time somebody steps up and says, enough is enough. Let me ask you this. 10 years ago, if you went to a game, let's say you're a Yankee fan and they're playing the Arizona Diamondbacks and you went up to Chase Field, would you think twice about putting on your Yankee gear and walking into that stadium or rooting for the Yankees taking on the Diamondbacks? 10 years ago, you wouldn't have thought anything of it. Today, would you worry about your safety and that of your family and that of your kids if you rolled into Chase Field wearing a Cubs jersey coming up next weekend? Cubs are coming in to take the Diamondbacks on. There's a bunch of Cubs fans in town. Would you feel good standing there yelling, screaming, carrying on, rooting for the Cubbies? Would you feel safe having your kids wear Cubs gear and standing there cheering after a big home run? I ask you another question. If you go to a Suns game, Suns are playing right now in the playoffs. Would you feel comfortable showing up wearing Dallas gear to the next game in Phoenix to take on the Suns? Would you feel okay letting your teenage kids walk around with Dallas Mavericks gear if you came out for the series, or would you worry that they might get accosted or get into a fight? If you went to an Arizona Cardinal game, would you feel comfortable rolling in wearing Dallas Cowboy gear if the two of them were playing each other? And not have to look over your back or be careful what you say or be careful how loud you cheer and root and yell and scream and hoot and holler for your Cowboys because you're on the road? Folks, the fact that you have to think twice before you roll into a game because we have just lost all senses that the good Lord ever gave us when we go to games now and the way we root in sports, this has become ridiculous. So this weekend, Chris Paul and his family go on the road to Dallas. Now, this whole thing is predicated upon two stupid kids. And I mean stupid kids. When I saw this first, I'm like, okay, here's where the media spins this out of control. Two fans put their hands on Chris Paul's mom. Like, what? If two fans put their hands on my mom, yeah, I'm going to get mad, and we're probably going to come to blows. But then I thought about how the story's being told. Two fans put their hands on Chris Paul's mom. Who says that? Did the fans touch her? Did they grab her? Did they punch her? Did they shove her? Did they kick her? Did they knock her to the ground? Did they beat her up? No. Two fans put their hands on Chris Paul's mom. And it struck me as what an odd way to report that Chris Paul's mom was accosted in Dallas. It's just a Dragon Ball. It's a weird way to say that two fans were messing with Chris Paul's mom.
Well, and again, it's a weird way of wording it. And apparently, as further information came out, it was described as they were giving Chris Paul's mom unwanted hugs.
Okay, bingo. That's where we're going with this. So Chris Paul's mom is standing there in the concourse. Some idiot fan, and I saw the photo of the kid. I saw the video of the kid who was getting kicked out of the ball game. He looked to be about 14, 15 years old. He looked to be some punk teenage kid who thought he was going to be cute by walking up and giving Mama Paul a hug. Unwanted. Dude, you walk up and touch my mom, I'm going to clock you. You walk up and touch my family, we're going to have an issue. But just that coming out of my mouth right now is making the situation even worse. So number one, these two kids come up and they're harassing the Paul family. Okay, that's not right under any circumstances, under any way, shape, or form. These kids should have been kicked out. They should be banned. In fact, they should never be allowed. The entire family should be banned from an NBA arena near you. They have no business going back to a game because they have no business accosting somebody else at the game. It doesn't matter whether it's Chris Paul's mom or my mom or your mom or anybody else's mom. That is wrong. So if you're Dallas and if you're Dallas, who owns
that'd be Mark Cuban owns the Mavericks.
You know, Mark Cuban, I hear you talking all the time, pal. You always have something to say. You always have something to comment on. Have I heard you yet? The answer would be no. Oh, you better believe this is just a warm-up, Dragon Ball. Wednesday night, I'm on CBS Sports Radio, and we're on in Dallas, and this is exactly what I'm going to say to the folks in Dallas. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Everybody should be ashamed of themselves that we've gotten to this point in the NBA, in professional sports in general. We can't go to games and just enjoy it anymore. What's happened in our society where we've jumped the shark and some stupid junior high kid or some freshman in high school thinks it's okay to go give someone an unwanted hug because you're clowning on them because you think you're going to make it on TikTok and go viral and everybody will think you're really cool. Or the fans that have decided they want to be part of the action. It's not enough just to go watch the game. Now I want to be part of the action by yelling, screaming, carrying on. There used to be a crazy fan in Washington, D.C., who would just stand behind the bench and scream and yell. And people paid attention to him. His name was Robin. Can't remember his last name. I know his first name was Robin. ESPN showed him, and he would just stand there screaming, one row behind the visiting bench in Washington at the old Bullets games. Or Wizards games, I guess I should say.
You wouldn't happen to be talking about, is it Robin Ficker?
Robin Ficker, that's
okay.
His name. Why do I know that name? I shouldn't know that name. But he tried to interject himself into the games. Why am I the only one that's outraged today? At the Dallas Mavericks, at their fans, at Mark Cuban, and at NBA fans, that something like this could even go on. Have we become so numb to all of this that we just kind of shrug our shoulders and it's okay? Hey, folks, it's not okay. It's not okay. I'll sit here and run my mouth about Arizona State every day and twice on Sunday, but it's in fun, it's in jest, because that's what sports is supposed to be. The second I cross the line and I start acting like one of these guys, somebody needs to put me in my place. But the fact that this is going on and not everybody's outraged makes me shake my head and wonder about the future of our society. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Is it ever okay to do something like that at a game? Is it ever okay to get involved? Is it ever okay to actually sit there and insult and say the things we say to players on the field, on the court? Is it okay for the fans to actually come in contact with family members of players? No, it's not. And by the way, it goes both ways, because I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. As much as I love Draymond Green, shame on the commissioner for not doing anything. We're going to get into that coming up in the next few segments. But the fact of the matter is that we've just taken 20 minutes talking about this, and you're not outraged. Something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. The fact that not everybody is outraged at this, there's something wrong with the way that we're rooting for sports and the way that we've just learned to accept things in society today. And I, for one, am not going to. I'm going to tell you right now, Mark Cuban, the fact that you're so quiet on this, why haven't you said anything? Why haven't you apologized? Why haven't you kicked that family out and banned them from your arena? Why haven't you publicly apologized to Mrs. Paul? Why haven't you told your Maverick fans that's not what we stand for, and if you want to be that great, you're not welcome here? Your silence is deafening, America. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Yes.
We are a long way away, Rich, from the days of Sam Weish stopping a game in the middle of an extra point.
We shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be, but we're a long way away from where Sam Weish pulls a microphone and says,
okay, stop, because you're talking about something that nobody remembers. Go back and explain to people what you're talking about.
So back when Sam Weish was the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, there was a snow game that they were playing. I don't remember the team they were playing against, but there was a fan or something that decided that they were going to throw a snowball on the field during a field goal. And it happened again. There were like 2 or 3 snowballs that got thrown out before Sam Weish pulled somebody with a microphone that went over the PA system, and he screamed out to the next person that sees somebody throwing a snowball on the field, point them out, get to security, get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. That was his message to the fans of, we don't do that here. This is not what we're supposed to be. This is not the kind of, this is not the class of
Can
fan.
you find that?
I can definitely find that.
All right, find that for me. We'll play it. That's a good point. This isn't Cleveland. We don't put up with this. And the fact that Mark Cuban and everybody is so quiet, it's sad. It's very sad. But I have someone else who is it's even sadder and more pathetic, their reaction to all of this. You want to know who that is? I'll tell you next. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Is this okay? Is this where we've gone to? Is this now okay? I can go put my hands on another fan just because they're rooting against somebody else? They're not rooting for my team? I'm allowing this? No. This is garbage. I want to hear from you. 520-848-1290. We'll continue with you. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Rich Rare Radio Show rolls on a glorious Monday. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late coming back from break, but my son just FaceTime with me. Just got done with their official, whatever they call it, now that he's recognized and earned the rank of fourth-class midshipman at the academy. So they take him, they gather them all up, they put them in their boiler suits, the ones, the blue coveralls, and then they just smoke them. Physical training, push-ups, bear crawls, sit-ups, running in place, running here, running there. And then afterwards, the plebes that are about to not be plebes anymore get to grab the upperclassmen and throw them in a mud pit and then drag them around. And he just came back, so he's dripping wet. It's like 50 degrees there, covered head to toe with mud. And I've never seen a smile on his face as big as that. As he said, all right, I'm no longer a plebe. After 2 years, I can finally say I'm a fourth-classman. So he was pretty thrilled. Yes, that's it. Cheer, go crazy. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, I want to get back to this, and I'm not going to let that distract me, although I'm a proud papa today that he achieved that. There's a commissioner that I want to call out right now, and I know this is this radio show, but you can watch it on YouTube and Facebook Live, so hopefully somebody else figures this out. I want to know where the commissioner of the National Basketball Association is in all of this. I want to know where Adam Silver is. Adam Silver is out there. He talks a lot. He's blah, 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 blah. You see him out there, and he's gonna do this, and he's going to do that. This NBA postseason has become almost unbearable, unwatchable, because of the whining, the complaining, the teeth gnashing, and quite honestly, the boorish behavior of fans and players alike. Where's the commissioner? Who's heard from the commissioner? I haven't seen anything from him. I haven't heard anything from him. So my question is, where the hell's the commissioner of the National Basketball Association during these playoffs? Where I got players taking each other's heads off and shattering somebody's elbow. I've got fans that are putting their hands, trying to give a mom just an unwanted hug. I've seen fans run onto the court to protest and try to superglue themselves to the court. And I've seen players flipping the bird to fans. And people think this is okay? And the commissioner thinks this is okay? The commissioner thinks he doesn't have to come out and say anything? Adam Silver. There's a reason why years ago the NBA was unwatchable and they used to have your games tape delayed at 11:30 after the local news. Because you lost control. The commissioner at the time lost control of everything and ran the league into the ground. Do you really think what we're watching right now? Listen, I love the NBA playoffs. I'm going to watch the Warriors tonight. But it's getting to the point where I'm questioning whether I really should or not. Every time there's a foul, I get the LeBron James of, oh, it's not a foul, look at me, ah! Every foul anybody calls, it's like nobody ever committed a foul in the history of the NBA. It's like, first time I call a foul on somebody, players are acting like, I can't believe you called a foul on me. That's the first time anybody's ever called a foul on me in my life. Every time you turn around, somebody's whining, complaining, and carping and belly aching about something. And then if they don't get what they want, they complain, they sit on they tweet, they're talking. What in the heck is going on, Adam Silver? Where are you through all of this? You're allowing this to happen under your watch. Is it really good? Is it, I don't know, let me ask you this. Next time you go to the grocery store, would it be okay if the checker gave you the finger while you were leaving? Just asking. When I go to Dillard's, pretty good customer service at Dillard's. Nobody's talking trash to me as I walk out the door with my purchase. I go to McDonald's. the kid who's handing me my French fries isn't telling me where I could go. So why is it okay for players to do this to the fans? All they're doing is egging on the fans. If the fans are acting this poorly, it's because the players are egging them on. And then the players are egging them on, so the fans are acting like this. Where is the adult in the room? Commissioner Silver, where are you? 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Oh, and the players aren't off my list either. John Morant, Draymond Green, and all the rest of you. I got something to say about you next. Number for you to join us, 520-848-1290. Coming up in a little bit, we'll give away another $25 gift card to Hooters. But I've got a message for the players as well. You're going to want to hear that. That's coming up next. I'm Rich Rivera. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is David Amata, and here's what's trending on 1290 here at 4:37. The Arizona Wildcats women's golf team managed to finish day one of the NCAA tournament in their regional in Albuquerque in the top half of the standings, as they currently sit in 6th place again after the first day. And former Arizona Wildcat guard James Akinjo was officially named to the G League Elite Camp as he awaits the rest of the NBA Combine list, along with the other Wildcats heading into the NBA draft. And two legends of the Greens will be back for the PGA Championships later on this month, as both Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson announced that they will make their return to Southern Hills out in Tulsa for the PGA Championships. And an update on NHL and NBA playoffs, as the Bucks and the Celtics just tipped off, with the Bucks holding a 4-point lead. Again, the Celtics trying to win that game in Milwaukee to take back home court advantage. And in the hockey playoffs, the Capitals have a 1-goal lead over the President's Cup winning Florida Panthers in the final game out in Washington before it heads back out to Miami. And the Rangers and Penguins are tied up at 1 goal apiece after the Penguins' power play goal officially was ruled as a good goal after the review. That series 2-1 in favor of Pittsburgh, as the Penguins hope to maintain home ice advantage, winning the second game out in Pittsburgh. And that's what's trending locally and nationally on 1290. Still more to come on the Rich Herrera Show. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's the Rich Herrera Radio Show live here on Wildcats Radio 1290. We're also streaming on Facebook Live at Wildcats 1290 and on YouTube. And if you haven't seen, we have a whole new graphics package that we put together. It looks really sharp. So a new look, the Dragon Ball cam. Dragon Ball actually has a big graphic underneath him, Rich Herrera. It's pretty cool. So if you want to check us out on Facebook Live, you can watch kind of how the show's put together. You can see Dragon Ball. Do you still have your lunch sitting there?
Maybe.
You know, we're not supposed to eat in the studios. We're not supposed to eat or drink in the studios.
Well, no, I don't eat or drink in the studio.
Hold on, I'm drinking my soda, which we're not supposed to drink in here.
To be fair, I nibble. Nibble and eating are two different things.
I don't want to know what you do on the weekends. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Program today brought to you in part by QC Kinetics. Stop living with that daily pain in your knees, your back, and your shoulders. Just stop living with that daily pain that just you get it every day in your knees and your back and your shoulders. Don't let them tell you surgery and steroids are your only options. You have another option. They can give you long-lasting results. It's called QC Kinetics. And you got to call them today. So many people here in Tucson are pain-free now thanks to the natural biologic treatments of QC Kinetics. Local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are helping people with regenerative medicine using powerful healing properties from your own body, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue. Imagine living life without nagging chronic pain, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 2 locations here, Academy and Orange Grove. If joint pain is keeping you from work or from play, you need to discover the power of natural biologic treatments. Call QC Kinetics, 520-497-4955. That's 520-497-4955. QC Kinetics Academy and Orange Grove. Here's the number one more time, 520-497-4955. All right. I've been talking about something I saw this weekend, and I got to get this off my chest. Big story. Dallas and the Suns. The Suns roll into Dallas feeling pretty good about themselves. They're up 2-0, going to go in there and take care of business against the Mavs. All of a sudden, Luka Doncic decided he wanted to play, and the Suns walk away, tied 2-2 after the 2 games in Dallas. But something else happened over the weekend that just disgusted me. But it disgusts me for a bunch of different reasons. And the reason I'm so passionate about this today is shame on me, because I didn't bring this up earlier. I tried to, I wanted to, I just never got around to it. I just couldn't come up with the right words to talk about it. Folks, in sports, we need to have a talk right now. And I'm going to talk to the players, I'm going to talk to the fans, and I'm going to talk to the folks, the owners that run this sport. As fans, we're there to root. We're there to have a good time. We're there to have an escape. We're there to enjoy ourselves. It's called entertainment. But quite candidly, it's become less of that and more about just tribal attitudes. My tribe of Suns fans versus your tribe of Maverick fans. And you know what happens when two tribes get together? They fight.
It always comes to blows.
And we're starting to see this more and more in sports. So the fans are completely out of control. The stuff fans say that come out of their mouths, quite honestly, if you're sitting there in a crowd yelling like that, you're a coward. Because you're doing it in the group setting and you don't have the guts to say to somebody's face what you're yelling in the middle of the crowd. Because quite honestly, you wouldn't have the guts to walk up to someone and actually say some of the stuff and the garbage that comes out of your pie hole. When's the last time you went to a game and you could sit there with your wife or your kids or your mom and your dad and not be inundated with the F word coming out of everybody else's mouth? Heck, I can't even go to dinner sometimes without just sitting there listening to the guy next to me, blank this and blank that. Dude, I'm sitting here with my family. I don't need to hear you cursing up a storm 5 tables away because you're that much of a horse's you-know-what that you can't communicate with somebody else sitting across with you without screaming the F word. You know what that makes you? Ignorant. Ignorant. Now, Dragon Ball, there's times where I'll drop an F-bomb. I'm not proud of it. It makes me sound ignorant. It makes me sound stupid. There's times where I will talk like a drunken sailor. Not proud of it. And should probably do a better job of it. But, my gosh, I don't know the last couple of times where we've gone out to dinner and we haven't just kind of looked at each other like, why is that guy over there just dropping F this and F that every other word?
It happens more than it should.
It happens all the time.
And that's the thing about it is that when you say it, Rich, and if you, again.
You've heard me drop an F-bomb.
I've heard you drop it once or twice. It's never been extensively. When you drop it, or anyone that I know in my personal circle drops it, it's usually in a slave to the moment emotional response. It's an emotional response to something. So if someone's going to stub their toe, I'm not going to be surprised if an expletive flies out. But if an expletive flies out when someone's trying to explain to me how to get to a location, like they're giving directions to a restaurant or something.
How about you're just standing there talking about a game, the blanking this and the blanking that?
Yeah. No, you can't do that.
No, but people do.
People do.
So now I've got this. So I got fans that are just completely crazy, and they forgot that we're there to have fun. That's why I became a sports fan, because I enjoyed it. But the passion has overcome the entertainment of it. I'm as passionate for my team as I've ever been. But if I see you walking down the street and you're wearing another team's gear that you're my rival, you're not my enemy. You're just a fan of another team.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like this weekend for Mother's Day, we went to my wife's cousin's house in Scottsdale. And I made sure I wore Arizona red, white, and blue because I always do that if I ever go north of Casa Grande. But when I see Arizona State people, I don't jump out of my car and start swinging at their cars with tire irons.
As well you shouldn't.
Then why is it that I go to a game and I feel like I've got to show that other team what's up by breaking down their fans? So fans are completely out of control. The leaders in the room, the adults in the room, are supposed to be the commissioner. Hey, Adam Silver, where are you? Roger Goodell, where are you? How many videos have you seen of just brawls in the stands between 5, 6, 7 guys going at it wearing different color uniforms? The first time I saw it was interesting. Dude, I can go through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, any social media platform, and it's not even unique anymore because it happens so often.
What is unique, though, is that you're starting to see more and more videos of that where people are wearing the same colored jerseys.
Because we allowed that to happen, and now it's continuing to go on. I think some people, like I've been to the black hole.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
I've been to the black hole. If you roll in wearing something else, you're going to get into a fight if you roll into the black hole.
Right. That was the expectation.
Well, no, that was the exception.
Oh, no,
Black hole. No, hold on.
Right.
Black hole was something crazy. Philly was something crazy. The rest of the place, it wasn't like that.
And my mistake. I meant to say it's the expectation when you go into the black hole and you wear somebody else's gear.
I've gone to Dodger Stadium wearing Giants gear, and I had a kid kick me as hard as he could in the thigh when I got a handful of concession stands food. And I'm like, what are you doing? Hold on. If you want to kick me, let me put this down, and then you could kick me. And the kid ran off because he was a coward. That's now commonplace. 2008 World Series. Rays and Phillies. We go up to Philadelphia. I'm in the broadcast booth, so I'm riding on the charter, and I'm in the traveling party. I'm on the bus. I'm not getting what's really going on. But during one of the games, I went out and sat in the crowd with all the rest of the employees in the front office, and they were telling me, a couple of girls were like, "Oh, Rich, come over here, help me," because they were wearing a different team gear. They were getting things thrown at them, the names that they were being called, and the way that they were treated. And the Phillies didn't do anything about it. The police wouldn't do anything about it. We had to move everybody for the second game because they were afraid they were going to get beat up. So I got my Rays jacket on. I'm like, yeah, I'm big enough. Come on, try me. Nobody wanted to. You know they tried? The father of our accountant, I think he was in his 70s, and he was in the restroom, and he was accosted in there by some drunken Philly fans, real big, tough guys. It's not acceptable. It's not right. And we as sports fans, it's making me look bad. It's making you look bad. So where's the commissioner? Go back to Adam Silver. You run your mouth about a lot of stuff, Adam Silver. Where are you on this? Where are you on everything that's going on with all the extracurricular stuff? I don't hear you. I don't see you. Hey, Roger Goodell. You have that $1 million smile. You show up at the NFL draft with Cube, as you call him, Ice Cube. The Raiders are on the clock. You're good at that. How come I haven't seen you address the violence inside the stadium? You're a Steeler fan.
Yeah.
Would you wear your Ben Roethlisberger gear to an Arizona Cardinal game?
I did once upon a time.
Would you now?
No.
Why not?
You can't. You just can't, because then you become a target. You become a target.
What do you mean you become? Explain.
So, again, like you were describing it, it's the tribal mentality. It's
right.
My group versus your group. My gang versus your gang. You know, you got Bird Gang. You've got, what all these other like gangs and whatever like that in regards to how people describe themselves in their fan base. If you're not a part of that group, if you're not a part of my inner circle, guess what? It's on site.
If I see you walking down the road with your Roethlisberger jersey, am I allowed to beat you up or throw things at you in the stands?
No.
But apparently it happens all the time now. And the fact that you have to think twice about wearing your Roethlisberger jersey, and chances are you're probably not going to. What does that say about the NFL? What does that say about the stadiums? What does that say about the state of the game? And where the hell is the commissioner talking about that? Have you ever once seen the commissioner address these brawls that we see weekly between opposing fans, and sometimes it's fan-on-fan violence? I used to make a joke when I had one of my national shows that, hey, I want to hear fan-on-fan violence. I want Cowboy fans talking trash about Eagle fans, because that's all it was. We were just talking trash about each other. Now, I'm not going to talk trash about another team. You want to know why? Because I don't want to get stabbed. Because that's what it's kind of come to. So we as sports fans need to stand up and go, that's enough. The commissioner needs to stand up and say, that's enough. What about the players? Chris Paul is incensed that somebody tried to give his mom an unwelcome hug. I'd be incensed too. I said it. Yeah, if somebody was harassing my mom, I'm going to get in there and get in the way. Here's an example. I told you I took Riggs to Vegas for his 21st birthday, right?
Right.
I've recounted the story on the program a number of times. A fight breaks out on the other side of the bar. We're inside New York. It's a circular bar in the middle, starts on one end, and like a tidal wave, it comes around the bar, it goes to the other side. I couldn't get to him in time. I'm like, oh, God, this is the fight's rolling towards him like a tidal wave. I didn't get there in time. He got clocked. Somebody just came up and just sucker punched him. I got between them. We got him to safety, pushed the guy away. I don't even know who the guy was because all I saw was a fist hitting his little face. And I got in the middle, and we got him to safety. Got a couple other kids that were in the middle of this brawl to safety. And it made me think about last night when I was watching the highlights from TNT. I love Shaq, love Chuck. But what do they say? Chuck goes, just bring that guy out to center court, and I'll have 5 minutes with him and just beat him down. Shaq's talking about, oh, yeah, you know what? I'd have my homeboys beat him up. All we're doing is escalating any of this. All we're doing is escalating. I could have escalated it. I could have found the guy that punched out my son, sucker punched him in the face, and beat the crap out of him. But I didn't because I'm an adult. So I grabbed him, got him out of the way, got him to safety, and made sure my family was okay. See, there's no adults in any of this. There's no adults in any of this. So this is where I want to get to the players. Well, you had something to say. Go ahead.
And you want to go ahead and say, like, where are the adults in the room? Sometimes the adults in the room are the ones that are getting involved in it because the issue is, like, again, just sticking with the NBA. 2-time MVP now, Nikola Jokic. Do you remember his brothers and the feud that they had or whatever it was with Jimmy Butler in the Heat, how they tried to get on the court to fight Jimmy Butler and everything else? These were an NBA player's family attempting to get into a fist fight with another player over an on-court squabble. Like, there are family members and other men and adults getting involved in these kinds of things. It's gotten to a point where everybody is quick to the reaction.
So I talk about this all the time. I talk about it on this show. I talk about it on the network. What we need more than anything else in the world is for someone to show some grace. Someone to show some grace to your fellow human beings. Just because I go to a game and you're wearing a different jersey doesn't mean we're enemies. It just means we root for different teams. Again, I'm bleeding red and blue. I'm a proud Tucsonan. I love the Arizona Wildcats. I see someone wearing rust and mustard. I don't like you. You root for the other team, but I don't wish you any will. It's not a reason for us to throw down. It's not a reason for me to say the most despicable things that I wouldn't say if you weren't wearing that T-shirt. But instead, we think it's okay. But instead, we condone it. So the fans are out of control. The commissioner is nowhere to be found. And quite honestly, Chris Paul, you're the former president of the NBA Players Association. What are you doing? What are the players doing to tap all this down? And the answer is nothing. So Draymond Green, I love Draymond Green because he's on my team. If it wasn't on my team, I'd hate his guts. But Draymond Green decides it's a good idea to give the finger to the crowd on the road and then laughs it off like, I got plenty of money. It doesn't matter. You're going to boo me? Well, Draymond, you're a villain. Draymond, you're an antagonist. Draymond, you're the biggest bad guy in the NBA, and you live that, and that's really why everybody knows who you are. If you're going to be a heel, wear it. And when you do something, they're going to boo you. But guess what? Having the players stand there and have such disdain for the fans that pay their salaries and do it with such incredulity that if Draymond Green gives the finger to the fans, what's that doing? Hi, this is a fire. I'd like to introduce more kerosene to throw on top of it. Hi, this is a fire. Let me throw more gasoline on top of this. I've got the players out of control, I got the fans out of control, and I got the owners and the commissioners standing there going, what's going on? Are you kidding me? How many players have we seen mouth off at the fans, give them the fingers? I can count the Celtics game, Bulls game, Warriors game, and those are the only ones I could think of off the top of my head. For the players, you keep doing this, fans are going to start staying away. And fans start staying away, guess what? Your huge contracts will start to shrivel up and go away as well. And until we get an adult in the room to get all of these kids back in line, folks, I don't know where this is going to go. I want to get your thoughts. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. We keep living life like it's TikTok and Twitter. I'll give you a perfect example of an asinine statement from a baseball manager this weekend. We'll do that next. I'm Rich Herrera. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Go ahead and give away something at the box office real quick.
Oh, are you telling me on the air for this?
Well, no, we're going to give away something on the box office here.
Well, is that a question or is it a statement? Are you saying, hey, Rich, I know you're ranting and raving, but we still have to give away a $25 gift card to Hooters?
We do.
Well, say it then.
Okay, well, let's give away a $25 gift card to Hooters.
So say, Rich, I know you're ranting and raving.
Rich, I know you're ranting and raving.
I know that you're all fired up today.
I know you're fired up, and I know you're passionate.
And I forgot to give away. And I forgot to give away.
25.
I state your name.
I Dragon Ball.
All right, we got it. You know what? I need a drink. I'm seriously thinking of doing this show drunk for the rest of the hour. Let's give away box office blitz time.
Tucson, are you ready to win? The Wildcats Radio 1290 box office is now open.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
With tickets to ball games, concerts, movies, and more.
We have to get on. We have so much time and so little to do. Strike that. Reverse it. This way, please.
Start calling at 520-848-1290 to win. Good luck from Wildcats Radio 1290.
Oh my God, thank you.
Jeez, is that what I sound like, Willy Wonka? So many things. I've reversed it.
I don't think you sound like Willy Wonka.
Well, the good Willy Wonka, not the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka.
Oh, the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka.
Have you watched any of that trial?
I've not. Okay, I've seen a little bit of what's going on that trial. I still find it very hilarious. I think it's funny.
To watch Hollywood celebrities turn out to be just psychos?
Yeah, because
didn't you know there were psychos before?
No, that's the beauty of it, is that now the veil is being pulled completely off at this point.
Oh yeah, they are psychos.
Now you can just start to see it all in its entirety.
Okay, what do you want to give away? A $25 gift card to Hooters?
$25 gift card to Hooters. I'll say we'll go with caller number 12.
Caller number 12 right now, 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. Caller number 12, call in. You'll win a $25 gift card courtesy of Hooters. It's Box Office Blitz. Every Monday you tune in, we give stuff away. This is 1290. Rich Rare Radio Show rolls on here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Rich Rare Radio Show rolls on here on Wildcats Radio 1290. We have one more gift card to give away today, right?
Yes,
for Hooters. Okay.
Yes, we do.
So we got to do that this hour of the program. We're also going to have our Wildcat replay. Michael Lev stopped by a little bit earlier. We talked to him about Arizona baseball and football. Great article in today's Arizona Daily Star that we'll discuss on some analytics when it comes to Arizona football, comparing and contrasting Jaden DeLaura, who right now is the clubhouse leader, the favorite to be the starter for Arizona football coming up for their first game of the season against San Diego State going into fall camp. And Lev broke down a bunch of great numbers from his time at Washington State and compared and contrast them to what we saw from McLeod, from Plummer, and from Cruz last year. So you're going to want to hear that coming up on the program. Program brought to you in part today by PGA Tour Superstore. Hey, listen, Mother's Day is great. It's a great holiday. But guess what? Now it's time for Father's Day. Start thinking about Father's Day at PGA Tour Superstore. It comes up in June. It's never too early to think about Father's Day in golf, right? So if you're looking for just the right gift for your family to give you this Father's Day, I know last year that ashtray was great, but you don't smoke. So just go ahead and tell them. Don't say, oh, whatever. What do you have for Father's Day? I don't know, whatever. Just a card. No, you want something from PGA Tour Superstore. Tell them. Tell them to shop with the pros at Tucson's PGA Tour Superstore. Tell them, you know what? I'd really like to have a new pair of golf shoes. Maybe Nike, Adidas, Echo, Puma, New Balance, Skechers, or maybe the new MG4s. And then tell them, listen, if you tell them that you listen to Wildcats Radio 1290, they'll take $20 off a purchase of $100 or $50 off a purchase of $250 or more. It's a great deal, and you get what you want for Father's Day. So when you go to work on Monday after Father's Day, they go, oh, what'd you get for Father's Day? A card. Your friends might look at you and go, oh, yeah, too bad you didn't tell them to go to PGA Tour Superstore. I got a brand new pair of Nike golf shoes. And all I'd tell them Wildcats Radio 1290, and I got a deal. Again, $50 off a purchase of $250 or more, $20 off a purchase of $100. Restrictions do apply. Ping Titleist FootJoy not included in our special promotion. But again, Father's Day is coming up. Make sure you tell them to go get your gift at PGA Tour Superstore. All right. I do want to finish this up. Dragon Ball. Why is it that we just got a bunch of whiny crybabies? Everybody gets fouled. Oh, it's an awful foul. Oh, I'm going to go cry to the referee. The fact that John Morant went out and tweeted immediately after the ball game that he thought that Jordan Poole was a dirty play when he was grabbing for the basketball.
Well, it was a two-parter because not only does he basically with the tweet implied that he thought Jordan Poole was trying to hurt him, but he also tried to go ahead and throw a dig at the Warriors saying, oh, he broke the code. Because that's all the tweet said was he broke the code.
Why is it that every athlete, it seems like, every player, why are we all such whiny crybabies and we have to go to social media and say stuff that we wouldn't say to people's face?
Well, not only that, but not only does he want to say it to somebody's face, he ended up deleting that tweet, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey,
so
dude,
he ended up getting rid of it.
Bruh. If you're tough enough to send that tweet out, let it sit.
Got to let it sit.
If you're gonna accuse him of breaking the code and taking a run at Steve Kerr, and then accusing someone of trying to purposely injure you, bruh, leave it up. This weekend, Rangers playing the Yankees.
Yep.
One of the Yankee players, I think it was Torres, hit a home run that just kind of scraped over the fence at the short porch in left field at Yankee Stadium. And the manager pops off about Yankee Stadium for the Rangers, calls it a Little League field. Chris Woodward. Seriously? Yankee Stadium, the most famous baseball stadium in America. I know it's the house that Mr. Steinbrenner built, not the original one that Babe Ruth played in, but it's still pretty iconic, and people have it on a bucket list, and I want to go to Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium. And you lose on a wall scraper home run, and you're going to pop off.
Yeah, and I've got that pop off.
Let's listen.
Small ballpark. That's ballpark, so just happened to hit it in a Little League ballpark, to right field.
Seriously? And then you have to apologize the next day? Why are we such whiny crybabies, Tucson? Why? Please somebody explain why it's okay to be a whiny crybaby right now. And then I'm sorry, my bad. Or I'll just delete my tweet. All we're doing is we keep adding kerosene on. And the worst part of this is we keep adding kerosene to the fire. We keep adding fuel to the fire. And then we don't have the guts to stand there and watch the thing burn because I'm going to delete my tweet or I'll apologize the next day. I'm sorry that I called it a Little League ballpark. Hey, horse is already out of the barn, brother. Just because you delete it doesn't take it away because people found it. Just because you apologize the next day doesn't take it away. People found it. I'm going to talk more about this week. But when do we become just a country of whiny babies?
It's everything's a slave of emotions. I mean, again, like the fact of the matter is that you get, again, Ja deletes the tweet, and again, Woodward decides to retract his statement and apologize.
I'm sorry,
Everybody's a slave to the moment. They want to be complainy. They want to be whiny in the moment. Then they realize how whiny and complainy they sounded, and they don't want to come off that way. Well, too bad. You already are.
You already did.
You already did.
All right, coming up on the program, we're going to run through the big stories. Dragon Ball's got an update. It'll tell you what's going on. Milwaukee, Boston, good game in the second period. Also, I don't know, something where they skate around on knives and have sticks in their hand trying to hit things into a net.
Are you talking about, you're not talking about curling, are you?
I think that's what it is. They played up in hockey. He'll give an update on that next. This is 1290. All right, very quickly, let me run through the big stories today. NBA playoffs, Suns in trouble. After going into Dallas down up 2-0, they come back 2-2 tied. They'll play tomorrow. Chris Paul's mom was accosted. I'm going to say that. That's the best way to put it. Stupid headline writers. Some stupid kid, and he looked to be about 15 years old, saw Chris Paul's mom and wanted to give her a friendly hug. You're lucky Chris Paul's mom didn't slap you. But I need an adult in the room. We've been talking about it, folks, that the commissioner and the players and we as fans need to take a step back because this is getting completely out of control. How this thing is just starting to deteriorate into a cesspool. Players flipping off the fans acting like boorish you-know-whats, and the commissioner's not doing a darn thing about it. And the fact that you can't take your family to a game on the road, or there's some places you can't even take your family to a game anymore. That's not sustainable. Warriors will play a little bit later. They'll go look to go 3-1 tonight versus Memphis. John Morant will be a game-time decision, listed as doubtful for the game.
Yeah, they're saying likely out due to a knee injury.
Cats lose their series against USC. They'll take on the number one team in the nation, the Oregon State Beavers, coming up this weekend at High Corbett Field. Did I miss anything?
Let's see. Also, just a reminder that the Arizona women's golf team sits in the top 6 out in their regional in Albuquerque for the NCAA tournament.
That started
today. Yep.
Let's go, Laura and Ella, the Cats.
Yep.
And my big news of the day, after 2 years of being a plebe at the United States Merchant Marine Academy, my son called me today to say, Dad, we officially got recognized. We got promoted. I now have earned my rank of a 4th-class midshipman after 2 years of being a plebe. He finally gets collar insignia and some privileges like, I don't know, being able to wear your backpack on your back instead of carrying it. So if you're watching on Facebook today, Rigney, very, very proud of you, son. You've worked hard. You've gotten some big setbacks. You've had some big failures, but you didn't let it stop you, and you kept going and going and going. So I love you, pal. Congratulations. All right, those are the big stories of the day. Coming up, we had a conversation with Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star. We broke down what happened against USC in baseball, and he has a great enterprise piece today for football, talking about the statistics and the story they paint when it comes to Arizona's offense and the new quarterback coming in. That's next here at 1290.